Get down. Let me clear my throat. Yeah. Oh, that's better. That's better. Somebody pass around the offering. Cause I'm always preaching on tracks, you feel me? I'm about to get paid for it. Sermon of the day. You right where you supposed to be, baby. Informants informant, that information forming. Important you get a portion of fortune pouring. Confession, fortunately, blessings on now they snoring. You mellow, so focused on scoring. Got you underperforming. I never expect something, never assume nothing. Judging me for my past, but that's why I'm triumphant. I don't demand, I know where I stand like engineer hands. Watch how my life pans. That game plan, show out like a jotter, pop out like a cutter. Telling the kick rock, skipping the cross, squares like hopscotch. This gonna be my mood to my beat drop. Putting my boogie shoes in my diddy boots, ain't no stop. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. Yeah. If having hope is dangerous, call me Evil Knievel. You leading on the wrong side, living with peasant needles. So lethal, made Shane Black wanna write a sequel. Cause I snuggle my dream till it's seen as illegal. And I still probably will, cause I can never give up. I got my goals calling me, how could I never pick up? Either we make up or just break up. And the snake hits, get the rake up. Yeah, selfish, I'ma cake up if I don't shake me to wake up. Let my depression catapult me to succession. Shine a light on my imperfections like a projection. Every struggle a lesson, your issues ain't your oppression. Never got a question, they pushing me to progression like I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. Yeah.
Hey everybody, happy Thursday. We are making it through another week. How y'all doing tonight? One more week was the third week in January, and we are doing great so far. So welcome as always tonight. You know what night it is. It's my favorite night of the week. Why? Because I get to spend these 60 to maybe 90 minutes with you. Who knows, as the conversation goes and grows, we just keep flowing with it. But I'm glad you're here with me on tonight. So welcome everybody. It is Thursday night with me, your girl, Lady Dawn B, here on the Bravo with Sheila Network. And as always, we start by paying homage to the Queen Bee herself, Pastor Sheila Ingram, who so graciously yields me this captain's chair every Thursday night so that I can come have great conversation with you. What do? We have real talk with real resolutions. That's what we do. We want you to walk away with jewels, with nuggets, with gems, and with tools to be able to have a better life, to communicate better with others, to improve relationships, and most importantly, start by improving the relationship that you have with yourself. When we do that, then we present ourselves better as we go out into the world, and we can show up better for people, right? Right. So again, welcome this Thursday night. I want to holler, give a shout out to, I see some people, those in the comments, our number one bravette who is always here. She's never missed a moment. She is none other than Ine Kenya. We see you. Hey girl. Hey, how are you on tonight? She's saying, hey, Bravo with Sheila. Hey, Dawn B. And we are always so grateful that she is here. And we see you, Minister Karen Griffin, my sister girl. What is popping on tonight? Thank you for joining us. All right. And then I see my cousin in love, Maisha Brooks. Hey, cousin love. How are you? Thank you for joining on tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. And we want to also say good evening and hello to those who are in the silent sections, the expensive seats, those who don't want to really maybe show up and talk, but they just in the building. We see you, we thank you, and we appreciate you for being here. But we want to invite you to come on down to the comment section. It's all right. It's safe. I promise. It's good down here. So when you come in, just say hello. Let us know you're here so we can holler back at you. And as always, I want to ask you to do how we do here, which is in triplet, to like, subscribe, and share. Share this great content with others so that we can get everybody in on this good conversation. Good evening, William Coleman. Hey, how you doing, sir? Welcome and thank you for joining. Again, I am your Thursday night host, Lady Dawn B, and I am excited on tonight. The month of January has been great thus far. So far, we kicked it off with the and I'm excited because guess what, ladies? We got the men in the house tonight. We got the men in the house tonight. Something happens when men speak. Hey, Alicia, how you doing, girl? That's right, William. Hey, hey, hey. Come on, somebody put in the comments. Something happens when men speak. It might be a little churchy. It might be a little churchy, but I feel it in my spirit, a little shondo happening. I'm excited because the testosterone is in the building on tonight. And some of my favorite fellows are here with me on tonight. But the month of January has been amazing. We kicked it off with the ladies' rooms. The ladies' room is every first Thursday of the month. And then we started off with the topic what can you do for me? But the spin to that was it's not so much what can you do for me, is how are we presenting ourselves to the men in our lives. That was the spin on that. But what can you do for me? What can we do for each other? All right. And then we took it to the Redeeming Me series. As you know, that series, or if you don't know, that series is a series about the journey of getting back to self, getting back to the core of who you are. Because a long life's journey, we know that a lot of times, a lot of things get put upon us, a lot of weight, a lot of expectations, a lot of, we start becoming so many things to so many other people that we forget who we are and we lose ourselves. So the Redeeming Me series, and we started off with the topic, get out of your own way, free yourself from all of those other things and free yourself to be you. And then we're bringing it up to this week, this third week of January, which I am super excited about. And before I get there, say, hey, Montreal, good evening. Welcome. Thank you for joining in again. Like, subscribe, and share. Invite a friend. Come on, bring some people into this good convo. I promise you, you're not going to want to miss it. Come on, put in the chat. Something happens when men speak. And the men are here tonight to talk, to set the record straight. That's what they're going to do. So on tonight, we are launching off the Men's Lounge. On tonight, I'm super excited. I hope you can tell. I'm really, really excited because the testosterone is in the building. And I can't wait to hear what they have to say. So I just want to tell you, we have a few of the men from the Men's Lounge on tonight. This is going to be such an amazing series to carry throughout the year. I cannot wait. Hey, Zinja, my girl. I love you something terrible, girl. All right, I'm gonna be on for you tonight too. As soon as I finish here, I'm hopping over there. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for popping on. But yes, something happens when men speak. And on tonight in the Men's Lounge, we got a few of the men that are set for the Men's Lounge. You're going to be hearing their different voices throughout the year. So I'm just excited that they will be here and be a part. So I want to, without further ado, bring up those who are here and ready to start engaging in this conversation on tonight. And they are family to me. Literally, we are blood and blood and blood some more. So I'm going to bring to the stage on tonight Angelo Brooks, and he is this other one. He is this other guy. He is no stranger here. He is in the person, I call him 204, as we all know. He is my brother by blood, Minister Donald Brathwaite. Come on down, 204, holler at the people.
Good evening. Good to be here once again on this Thursday night.
Yes, sir.
So get ready. Put on your ears. And like my sister saying, 4 like, subscribe, put something in the chat.
Because
Help us,
something
sister.
happens when the men speak. Hey, Lady Novoa, we see you. We see you. Hey, Michelle Roach. And he is one of the men's panel. I'm going to bring up my cousin, our cousin. I can't be selfish because my brother's on the platform too. So he is our cousin. He is in the person of Angelo Brooks. He's a
Hello.
new voice, but we are glad he is here. Come on, holla at the people, cuz.
Hello, can you all hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see you,
Okay,
but we can hear you. That's
I'm
okay.
still working on my cam so you can see me, but I know y'all can hear me. So give me a minute to work through this. But I'm glad to be on tonight, and we're gonna get this camera going
Okay,
in
okay, we
just
gonna work
a
it out.
moment.
Most
Moment
important,
here.
we got your voice. We got your voice, so it's okay. We gonna work through it. We gonna work through it. But thank you for joining us on tonight. And this is literally my family, y'all. Like I said, this is one of my big brothers, 2 or 4. Literally, I am 4 or 4. If you've ever tuned in, y'all already know. I say I'm 4 or 4. He's 2 or 4. And my cousin, our cousin, I keep being selfish. Our cousin, Angelo Brooks. Both of them are in ministry. They are both men of God. They are both amazing fathers, husbands, and we are going to have some more men that are coming in. Sometimes the men are busy. They're busy working and they're doing what they do. So they're going to be adding to our platform on tonight. No stranger to the platform, Pastor Chris. He should be coming in and popping on. We also have Elder Gregory Bloomfield, who is no stranger here. He has come and he has come on several times, and he is no stranger. He's not new here. He's been here many times talking about his books. So he will be he's another voice of the men's lounge. I'm just excited on tonight, so y'all got to bear with me. I'm gonna try to get myself together. We also have Pastor Linwood Beal, who is another voice of the men's lounge that you will be hearing. We also have a few new voices. Mr. I Am King, aka I Am King. His name is Chris Roach, and also his cousin, King Will. So these are just a few of the names that you're going to be seeing and hearing as the men's lounge segment grows. As it becomes bigger and gets going, you will find that these will be some of the voices, on the panel. So we are looking forward to it. We're working through some technical difficulties, so y'all bear with us. I want to ask you to like, subscribe, and share. If you don't mind, come on, get this good word going out on tonight. Like I said, we have a few of the men from the men's lounge of the names that I called. All right. So, Lady Novoa, we see you out there. Yes, please, y'all like, subscribe, and share. Invite someone on tonight to come be a part of this great conversation. Michael Parrish, if I did not greet you, yes, sir. PPC in the house. Okay, come on. That's the church. That's the church. That's my cousin's church. We got y'all. Y'all here for Pastor Brooks. That's right, but we're glad you are here. So on tonight, the topic to set off the men's lounge for 2024 is the myths of manhood. Oh my, this should be good. This is going to be good. It's going to be good and gooder and gooder and gooder. And I see Pastor Rosa is in the house. She is the mother of us all. Well, me and 2 or 4. She is literally our mother. She pushed us out. Right. 2 or 4 is here, 4 or 4 is here. The 1 and 3 are missing, but that's all right. So welcome, Pastor Rosa. She is no stranger to the Bravo with Sheila Network, as she hosts her own show right across the street on the Sheila Ingram Ministry Network, the SIM channel, right across the street. If you want a good word, go right across the street. As soon as you go out of this door, it's literally right across the street. You ain't got to worry about it. It's right there. You will be right there. So we are going to bring back, and hey, there he goes. Pastor Chris is in the house, on the move and making it happen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We want you to drive safe, so I'm not going to ask you to unmute yet, but thank you for being here in the house. And Sir Hale, hey, Sir Hale is in the building. Okay, we getting it. We getting the numbers up. We getting the numbers up. All right, so here we go, y'all. On tonight, again, the topic of conversation is the myths of manhood. there are so many myths and rumors and false narratives that have been put out here in the universe about manhood and what men are about, what they supposed to be about. And truth be told, we think men want one thing and they want something else, and oftentimes we're telling them they tell us what they want or what they need, and we still telling them something else. So on tonight, ladies, we're going to lean back, we're going to sit back, we're going to lean in, and we want to hear what the men have to say. We want to open up the lines of communication and understanding so that we can get rid of some of these myths that have been instilled in us, so that we can help to serve our men better, so that we can help to love our men better, and we can be in a better position to grow with them and grow them. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with my brother, Minister Donald. And I want to ask you briefly, Donald, and I have some questions, if y'all have some myths that y'all wanted to spell out here too. But I want to go around and ask you guys, how do you feel about the expectations that are put out concerning manhood, about what you should be? Are they realistic? Is it something that you can live up to? Are you struggling to fit that narrative, or are you creating your own lane? Come on, Minister Donald.
So the question is, how do I feel about the expectations that are set for men? For me as a man, let me just personalize it. I'll be honest, I'm rather confused. Only because, and what I'm confused about is, I know of a man. I've derived that from our father, and our father, biological and spiritual, so I'm certain about what the expectations of a man are for me, but how I feel about the way these expectations are set differently than what I'm confused about. My confusion is about, and I'm stumbling because I'm really trying to be gentle. I'm confused about how I know what my expectations are for me as a male, to be a provider, to be loving, to be caring, to be a family man, and etc. But my feelings about how women are setting expectations for men. And that's the part where I was stumbling, because I was trying to be sensitive.
Give us a few words. Just how does it make you feel?
It's confusing.
Okay.
Because the level of expectations that the level of expectations that women set, or women that set expectations that are beyond what they see. And an example of that is, well, if you expect a man to have wealth, but he's not wealthy, then why would you put that kind of pressure on a man that does not have that level of wealth?
We ain't gonna go too deep yet. I just want to get your feelings of how you feel. Again, there are a lot of myths that are out here, but I want people to hear from the men how that makes you feel about the things that are set and expected of you, truth or false. So, and then we're gonna get deep. Then you can get into the,
I'll say deep for later. Confused is the answer. Confused is the answer to the question. Details later.
Right. So right now you are confused about the expectations that are set for men. Okay, got it. Yeah. All right. So, Pastor Chris, I don't know if you can unmute if you're able to. I want you to be safe while you're driving, but what is your input? I hope you heard the question. If not, let me know. I'll repeat it.
Yes, I heard it, and I am just as confused as Minister Donald, because we have so many manuals. We have the manual of the world, and then when some of us are introduced to the kingdom of God, we have a whole new manual with just that. So there's a lot of confusion and there's a lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of everything. So I don't have to be good. I can probably speak in the inner man of where most of us are. Because again, how can I be any man to any woman, whether it's a woman of God or just woman, period? How can I be a man to you when you don't even know what you want? Uh-oh. We're going to get in trouble with this one.
We ain't gonna get too deep yet. We ain't gonna get too deep yet.
Yeah. I'm gonna put my stamp on that one, because that's the main issue right there. So once the man understands who he is and he takes the mistakes that he's made and become a better version of himself, that's what a real man is. We're a lot of us don't have the manuals. A lot of us have bad examples. A lot of us grew up with bad examples. And a lot of times we have to find our narrative. We have to find who we are, because a lot of us just mimic behaviors. So a lot of mimic behaviors sometimes attach to us, and then we try to reenact it, but that's not you. But I'm going to put it right there because there's a lot to this. So I'm going to put my stamp right there, and I'm done. Back to you.
Okay. Well, thank you. All right. So we have two confused and a book and some manuals. We got some manuals that are going around. All right. So I'm gonna go to my cousin Angelo, who is Pastor Brooks. I don't know if you heard the question. I'm glad to see you, cuz.
Yes,
glad you got your camera and everything working. All right. We're gonna make it do what it do. My question was, as a man, how do you feel about these expectations? As we're talking about the myths of manhood and wanting to get clarity and break the thoughts that are out there and begin to change the narrative. We wanted people to hear from real men and everyday, y'all are not basic men, but y'all are real men living everyday real lives, and how does it make you feel with the myths or the expectations that are put upon you? Is it something that you feel you can live up to? Is it unfair? Or what are your feelings?
First of all, applaud all of my men that are on tonight, and just know, brother like me is praying for you. I feel like men do carry a lot of pressure. We are under a lot of pressure, and we do carry a lot of weight. And I feel like sometimes it can be misconstrued. It can be looked upon as if you fall short, then you're weak as a man, and you're not the man that you're called to be. I feel like oftentimes we are stereotyped and put in a box based on other men that don't carry their responsibility or don't do what they're supposed to do. And I think oftentimes we may be all put into one box as, and once you're a man, you always be a man, or this is how men are. And once a man is a dog, all men are dogs. So I definitely feel the pain of the brothers, but I do feel like, and I'll use my life, for example, as a brother like me, I'm unstoppable. I don't let anything stop me. I don't let what statistics say. I don't allow what the world may say, or even women may say about fathers that are less than. I'm a fighter. I've always been a fighter, and I feel like as brothers, we just have to have enough fight in us to fight past everything that the world tries to offer us and how they try to put us in a box.
All right, that was good, cuz that was good. I love what you said. I wrote down, if you wrote down, Donald was talking about confusion. Pastor Chris was talking about mimicked behaviors, and things that we've learned. And you mentioned the point of if you fall short, then you're weak. And these are all the things that sometimes we as women in our day-to-day, we overlook in our behaviors and how we react to you as men, how we respond to you as men, how we approach you as men. We set difficult standards for you with no grace. And so we want to, again, tonight, kind of try to dispel or cancel or, again, change the narrative for some of these myths of manhood. And again, welcome, Deidre. Thank you, Rev D, for popping in on tonight. Appreciate you so very much. Want y'all to continue to like, subscribe, and share. Come on, everybody. We get ready to get into the conversation. But do me a favor. All right. If you could just put in the chat, something happens when men speak. If you just put that in the chat, come on, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. We're gonna act like we gonna be a little churchy right now. Put it in the chat. Just a little bit. We thank you for joining us on tonight for the Men's Lounge. I have been excited about this segment all month long. I could not wait to get you on because men don't have a space where you can speak openly and freely without reserve. There are some things as men that you need to be able to say, but you will hold back, even as my brother was expressing in the beginning. He was trying to curb his words and being sensitive. Now, I understand that. A lot of times women, we can say whatever we want to say, however we want to say it. We just go off, and far left, and it's okay. And it's all right for us to express ourselves, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. And we are deemed emotional. And that's why. And then men, you are not given that same space, that same grace, and that same opportunity as a human being to be able to say what you feel. You always have to kind of hold back in your feelings and your emotions. So one of the things with the Men's Lounge is I want you guys to know that this is a safe space for you to be able to talk and to share and exactly how you feel in real time with your words without necessarily having to always be soft and gentle. But sometimes you need to, like I like to say it with your chest. Sometimes you just need to say it with your chest, so you put it out there. Because we as women, right, say it with your chest. I ain't gonna do it too much because I'll be hurt. But we want you to be able to speak freely. And we as women, we have to be able to lean in and learn how to take the weight of your words. We have to learn that, because what happens is that you as men, you are already somewhat conditioned to repress how you feel and not express it. And we want to be able to change that. If you can't be in a safe space to be completely free, like you said, because you're deemed weak if you don't respond a certain way, or if you respond a certain way. But you need to find that safe space. And if you can't be that with your spouse or the woman in your life, or at home, where do you get to do that? Where do you get to do that? So I just want to define a myth, according to the dictionary, is a widely held but false belief or idea. And tonight we may not get to all of them, we may not get to everything, and I'm sure that we won't. And that's why the Men's Lounge is going to be a regular segment here on Thursday Night with Lady Dawn B. And you're going to hear different voices coming. I see y'all putting it in. That's right. Something happens when men speak. Something happens. Something happens when the men speak. The testosterone is in the room.
We're nervous now.
You nervous now?
Yeah, we're getting nervous.
No, don't be. All right, the power of creation is in your mouth. Y'all got this. You roar like a lion. You got it. Y'all got it. But the first thing that I wanted to mention while we were talking about feelings and emotions, mimic behaviors, and confusion, and being deemed as weak, is one of the myths that we hear all the time. Is that men are not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to cry. And that is an unfair truth, because you as a human being feel just like women feel. Mm-hmm. So I don't know who wants to start, where you want to share. How does that myth or that ideal make you feel? And what can we as women do who support you to make it a safer space for you to be able to cry and release? Who wants this to ask? Okay, I see.
It is absolutely unreal for any person to think that a man is not supposed to cry. The
Have you not, but have you heard that? Have you heard it said?
I've heard that quite a lot.
I know you have. We grew up in the same house.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard it at home growing up, and I thank God that I never imported that into my home as I became a husband, father, in just that direction, having sons and daughters. My children have seen me cry, and I've never been ashamed of it, and I've never put it into my son especially as to what a man should not do. I would even go this further to be a little more transparent, but my son has had moments where his emotions were strong, and he has said to me, well, Dad, I don't want to cry because you might think I'm weak. I said, son, when God created man, part of the design is for part of the design of God is for every function of the body to do what it's supposed to do. So tears are purposed for a reason. We have tears of joy and tears of sadness. Anytime I've heard that said to me or around me, or I've been given some feeling, some reason to feel that from someone else that it's a sign of weakness, I tell them, look, my strength is in my tears. My strength is in my feelings. There's no sense, you can't stop a person from crying. We cry at funerals, we cry on happy events and sad events. So it is very unreal to our good listeners out there. It is unreal to set an expectation that says if a man cries, he is considered weak. Nor should you set a standard that says, well, it's okay for you to cry if we're at a funeral. But if we're in a conversation and I touch a nerve and you start to cry, then you're showing me you're weak. Then I have to wonder, what kind of man are you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. I absolutely agree. It is unrealistic and it is unfair, but it is something that we hear so very often. That you're a man, you're not supposed to cry, like you're not supposed to feel, and it becomes, I believe a lot of men, you become conditioned, when it starts at a young age. I'm a single mom of a boy, and I've always told him, when you need to cry, cry. Let it out, but don't cry for 6 hours. Like at some point you gotta suck it. All right, son. Let's see. Like okay, you gotta get up from here. But right, it's okay. But it's important that we create that safe space. And I've never said to him like, boys don't cry. And sometimes it starts with us. So women, we have to be very careful in what we say to our sons, to our husbands, to our brothers. Like, no, it is okay for you to cry because you're human, because that sticks with them. I think Pastor Chris wanted to say something, or cuz you wanted to say something. Who wanted to jump in?
I would say for me, I come from a crying family, so we all that's what we do. We cry and we cry. It doesn't take much to get us crying. But I would say that as men, we've been trained not to cry, to suck it up, to be tough, to hold it in and be a man. Oftentimes that's what we've heard growing up. But as men, we still cry, but we cry internally. And as a result, it becomes an inside battle for us. And I would say, as Mr. Donald mentioned, I have 3 boys, and I actually got 4 boys. Got 3 boys that they are different. One of them is very emotional, but actually 2 of them are very emotional. One cries out loud, but one cries internally. And as a result, it's hard to get to them, to the one that cries internally versus the one that cries out about everything. But as Lady Donna said, you can cry, but eventually you gotta get yourself together and get back up. So I think as men, we've been conditioned to dry it up, suck it up, and not cry. My wife and I have talked about it, even about feelings. And I think for men, I'm gonna speak for men for a second. I think a lot of times we don't cry, especially around women, because we feel like that puts us in a place of vulnerability. And we feel like women will take that and use that against us.
Boom.
And I know sometimes that may stir up, you know, a can of worms, but I feel like oftentimes men say, you know what, I can't cry around my spouse, or I can't cry around my girlfriend or my significant other. Why? Because they may take that as a weakness, and it may be used as a vulnerability. And I'll stop right there.
Woo.
That was good, cuz that was good. Go ahead, Pastor Chris. Jump in.
Uh, see, I'm trying to be good, but if I may, right now,
Wait, before you start, I just want to say, Lady Brooks was, I had to leave her comment up while my cousin was talking, because she was supporting his statement.
Mm-hmm.
She disagrees that men should cry. That's teamwork right there. But go ahead, Pastor Chris. I'm sorry.
Now, I'm gonna bring different dynamics to the conversation, because a lot of men did not grow up with the dynamic of crying, right? Some of us have come from a dynamic where you didn't have the father in the home, and you're coming from a inner city type of environment, so you can't cry. I'm saying that you can't cry. So therefore, if you cry, or if you're an emotional guy, then you're considered the other guy, and I don't think I need to go there with that. But when you grow up, and I understand what he was saying as far as men internalizing their pain, their cry, because that's what we're taught to do. And a lot of times our eternal cry ends up being habits. So that habit becomes our cry, and that becomes our crutch, because we can't cry in front of our women. Yeah, I said our women. You don't have to, that's a whole nother conversation. But we cannot cry, because again, it's like, you're weak. Why you always gotta be emotional all the time? Why don't you just suck it up? Why you always have to be so expressive? Okay, but on the flip side, when I shut down and become Stone Cold Steve Austin and don't say nothing to you, then you crying to your pastor talking about, I'm insensitive. He's an insensitive man. He doesn't understand where I'm coming from, but you just told me not to do that. So therefore, I'm eternalizing it and using outlets to cry. Now, am I condoning any bad behavior? No. But what I am saying is, that's the dynamic of the black man. Yeah, I said it, because we are given all these different narratives. We're given all these rules. We got to be hard. We got to be gangster with it. We got to do all this stuff. Oh, that's sexy because my man don't cry. He just go about it and all this other stuff. Look, after a while, you start being desensitized. And I could put my situation on the forefront. I've been so desensitized to cry that I couldn't even cry at my own son's funeral. So you tell me how that will not affect a grown man that's 46 years old. He just lost his son and he couldn't even cry. Why? Because it's been beat inside of you so much that if you cry, you weak. If you break, you're weak. If you're a man of God, you're supposed to always lean on the everlasting arm. Yes, I agree with you, apostle, preacher, teacher. You are absolutely correct. But the man is broken. But you expect me to stay hard the whole process through, and eventually, guess what? A crack's gonna come in the foundation, and then something's gonna happen, and then you're gonna be mad because he went far left. We have to be given a safe space. When a man always gives women an invitation, we always do. I don't care how hard you are. We give you an invitation, and if we can have that invitation be given and be respected, we will open up. We will probably shed one tear on the side at first, and then the other side will start tearing up. Next thing you know, I'm bawling. Why? Because you took the invitation and you respected my heart. And the biggest issue of why men can't cry is respect. I'm dropping the ball. I'm done.
Well, thank you all for those shares. Ladies, I hope you are leaning in and share, like, subscribe, and share, because the voices of our men need to be heard so that we as women, again, can put ourselves in a better position and to support and understand. The change has to start somewhere.
Yeah,
And I feel like it has to start with us as women. We can only be responsible for what we were created to do. So when we are hearing the voice of our men, like I said, something happens when men speak. But a lot of times we don't put ourselves in a position to listen while they're speaking. So again, that's why we shut it down. I'm the only estrogen on this platform today and letting y'all speak your truth. And what I'm hearing again is, the concern of being able to cry in front of the woman in your life or your children, your mama, whomever, because it's the concern of becoming vulnerable and showing your vulnerability and allowing that vulnerable space to be respected and not taken advantage of, not flipped on you, so that, and we cannot weaponize a man's emotions.
Allow us to be who we are. I'm sorry, myself. I'm sorry. Allow us, but I like what you said. Allow us to be who we are, because that's part of expectations, right? If you want a man to be maybe not overly sensitive, but attentive to your feelings, you have to understand we're not designed to be hard, as Pastor Chris was saying. We're not designed that way. We're designed the same way you ladies are, to have feelings and let those feelings be expressed, let those feelings be seen. I guarantee you, seeing a man cry would have the same impact on a woman that would see her baby crying. She knows that there's something wrong, and that comfort that she can give him just by a show of concern, that can help a man get to a place of safe place to know that he's okay around the woman that he's with.
If I could just right there, because you make a great point. And so I say to you men, as a woman, if you are with a woman that you cannot be like that with, then you might want to make a better choice about the woman that you're with. If that's what you're looking for. I mean, it's the two-way street. It's the exchange. We have to leave that space for you, or create that space for you. But as men, you have to stop overlooking that and saying, okay, well, I can't cry in front of her, but she does all the other things. You are with the wrong woman, because that space, that safe space where you can be everything, is really what you want. And that is a compromise. For me, it's like a non-negotiable. It's on a non-negotiable side of the list. If we can't do that. If I can't be a safe space, then I can't be with you. Then what am I here for?
Lady Dawn, if I may interject also.
Go ahead, cuz. Go ahead.
Then I feel like, just listening to the other brothers speak, I feel like as older brothers and as men, as fathers, as husbands, I think if we set the example, and I know I'm guilty of it myself. My wife tells me all the time that my boys need to see my vulnerable side. They need to see my, my crying side. They need to see that. So I think we need to be the ones to initiate it and set it off and be the front line to weep and cry. And if I may go biblically for a minute, Jeremiah was a crier. They called him the weeping prophet, and he was called. So a lot of time is, what are you crying about?
Right.
And Jeremiah was crying because he was crying over the people's sins. He was grieving over the wickedness of the people that he was called to. Why? Because, in Judgment Day, they were going to be judged by their sins. So what are you crying about? And I think as fathers, husbands, leaders, we should pull our young men aside to help them, even in the same walk. Like, what are you crying about? Now, if you bump your knee on the road, you cry for a minute, but like Lady Dawn said, you get back up. You got to keep going. But what are you weeping and crying about? So that makes a difference. You may be crying just because you lost your job. You do it for a minute, but then you get yourself back up because you don't want to succumb to whatever it is that's going on in your current life. But at the same time, I think as men, husbands, leaders, fathers, pastors, or whomever, I think we ought to be the front line to show our sons, our daughter, even our daughters, show our daughters,
Mhm.
and even if our wives or significant others provide a safe place for us to cry in, I think we should be open to that as well.
That's good, because I want to read some comments. As you were saying, why are you crying? That is key. And for how long? Yeah, if you bump your knees, my son, he used to be dramatic sometimes for a moment. So be like, bro, you got a paper cut and you crying. It's 16 hours later. Like, it's not even bleeding no more. Cut it out. But it is, yeah, that's a good point. He's all right. He survived. He's about to be 22. He's grown. He's good. But you made a great point about what are we crying for. And Montreal Tower says, to me, releasing tears depends on the situation, which is, part of what you were saying. Zenja also said, I think this happens because women feel they aren't allowed to cry, so they harden up. And she was referring to how women and men, when we don't provide that space for you. I just want to make sure we get to some comments. Y'all, if you're enjoying this conversation, I hope you are, like, subscribe, share, invite a friend. Let's keep it going. We got a little bit more to go. This is just part one. Welcome to Thursday Night with me, your girl, Lady Dawn B. We are here in the men's lounge with the fellas, part of the lounge, the men's lounge squad in the house. I promise you, it's only going to get better. That's right. Holla, holla. Mama Rosa, Pastor Rosa, Auntie Rosa, she says, a man that tells his son that men do not cry, trust me, cries like a baby behind closed doors. See, Lord help us, Jesus. Including the one who
she just read it all day.
Who told that to Minister Donald. Shots fired. Donald's 2 or 4 or 4 or 4 that she's referring to our father. I think we saw him cry.
See, now, and I'm sorry, but in fairness to our father was raised was raised that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how come it got passed on the way it did.
Right. No, and I mean, right? we've seen him cry. No, that's true. And I think I've seen I've seen my father cry maybe 3 times in his lifetime. And once was a funeral, once was a wedding, and the other time I don't remember what happened, but he was just crying, and it was only about 6 tears, but still. But he cried. But he knew what he was crying for. That's why there's only 6 tears. Right. And Bill says, exactly. All human beings have emotions and feelings. Crying is just a way to express them. Zenja was saying, you're with the wrong woman when we were talking about if you don't have that space, men, if a woman can't provide that for you, and that is key for you and your needs in a relationship, then make the choice, okay. I was going to say that you got to send her back to the streets. She's not for you.
No, we're sending her to the street now.
She's not for you. You got to loose her and let her go.
We ain't got to send her to the streets. You just send her back where you found her.
We keep it real. We keep it real here. We stir the pot. Pastor Rosa said, my sons and husband cried, and I let them and hugged them while they cried. Michelle Roach says, this is the conversation or awareness that should be noted before you take it to the next level. And that's true. Sometimes you don't always get to see that in the dating space. Because, in the dating space, half the time we so busy trying to impress each other and put our good foot forward and all of that,
right.
But I believe that you don't really know a person until you see them in all 4 seasons. You got to see them in the different seasons of their life. I mean, you go through the process with them. And you see how they react, how they respond to life's circumstances. And that, helps you navigate how you can manage. You have the capacity to be their support, and again, women, we have to be mindful. Another comment, and Mill says, I have brothers and have seen them cry as boys and as men. It makes me love them even more. Now, I agree with you, M. Mills. There's nothing, not for me, I am a softie at heart. And I think one of the most precious things that you can see is a man who is in touch with his emotions and he is able to cry. He is able to release that. And as a woman, when you do that in my space, I become even more protective. Like that mama bear comes out because I understand what
Right.
it took for you, to be able to release that in front of me. And that's a very delicate and safe, it's a very delicate space, and I would never want to take advantage of that. So we have to create those vulnerable spaces. Like you can cry on my lap, wherever it is, shoulder, whatever it is you need to do. When you come home and you hit the cry, and when you're done, if I got
Mhm.
to hold you for hours or whatever it is, as long as you get it out. And when you're done, women, we gotta go give him a big hug, give him some water. Like, okay, because when he goes back out that door, you make sure he
Right.
goes back out that door as that strong man that he needs to
Mhm.
be, but haven't been able to
Yeah.
release with us at home. We
And
have to
ladies,
have that. When we
ladies, if
don't
I can
allow
add,
our men, go ahead. I just want to finish the sentence, and then you can
I'm
jump right
sorry.
in.
I thought you
No,
were.
you're fine. That when we don't allow our men to relate and release their emotions, then they become hard. And as Pastor Chris said, then they find other outlets. And women, then we get upset because now you're with a man who is hard body all the time. And we say he don't have no
Wow.
feelings.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's like, what do you want? Do you want it? But he's this way for a reason. Have you made it a safe space? Women, we have to understand peeling those layers back off of that hardness of him is going to take time, patience, and grace. So you have to have the capacity to work with him through that and create that safe space and let him know that he can trust you in that space. So I just want to throw that nugget in there, Donald. Go ahead. And then I want to move on to another myth real quick.
Just this one add to everything that was said, especially what you said, my sister. Ladies, is this mic on? Ladies,
It's on.
I
We
want
can hear
y'all
you,
to
sir.
understand if you don't let a man show his feelings, he will find someone else that will let him show his feelings.
Watch your voice, sir.
What I said was,
There he goes. He put it
you
out there.
lose what you
That's your
have
cousin,
when
Angela.
somebody
That's your
else got
cousin.
it. I'm just keeping it real.
Right. Think about it.
Yeah, that's what I want y'all to do. Think about it.
Listen, let that, what mama said, let that man cry. Ladies, you
Drop
want to
that.
keep your man that you love so much, let him cry. Listen, I will do something to make you cry. Just so
just so he
Yeah.
could be there, right?
just so you can cry. Just so you can get it out. Get it out, baby.
Right,
Get it
right.
out. I'm
And
gonna
I
make you
feel,
cry,
yeah.
then I'm gonna be the one there to help you cry. Then I'm gonna be there to help clear your tears because you cried. Then I'm gonna send you back out, go into the world, be the
before
man.
you send him back out. Before you
Right.
send him back out.
Right.
That's true. That's true. There's anything else that you guys want to add before we move on to one more myth?
I
About
just want to
emotions?
say in conclusion that I think oftentimes, and I'll just leave it at this. I think we are programmed sometimes as a race, but sometimes as a gender, that women are just supposed to cry and release and be emotional, and men are not. Men are supposed to be there to wipe their tears, dry their eyes, but we're not supposed to be the one, because when we do it too much, then we're just like, wait a minute, you're taking the lady's role. So I think sometimes it can become a role and gender thing to where we feel like only the women are supposed to cry and men not supposed to cry. But if men is crying too much, he's like the women will be like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be the one crying, not you, that type thing. So I think if we can grow in those areas, then we'll be a whole lot better.
We got to find that happy medium and that balance, but I think sometimes we got to reduce those gender roles too. So that could be a little something. Pastor Chris, did you want to say something before?
No, I'm good because I'm gonna get in trouble. So I'm good. I think I said what I needed to say.
Okay, all right. We gonna hold it for you. We gonna hold it for you. Maisha, cousin in love says, what about for the men who've been burned and are reluctant to be vulnerable to the woman who will create them a safe place? From a woman's perspective, I think that that's where we have to understand as women our capacity. And this is where we have to extend that grace, because I believe all men have been burned in some way, shape, or form. No, there is no, if you're looking for the unbroken, unscathed, unbruised person, you're not going to find that, because even Jesus was wounded. So no such person exists. Everybody comes with something. So again, it speaks to that patience and that grace that you have to have with your man, to walk him through that. Trust takes time, and we have to create, and men, you can jump in or stop me when I'm wrong, but I think as women, again, I'm speaking from the women's perspective, women, we have to be willing. We can't get tired in making that safe space for our men, because it's healing that's taking place. We have to change the narrative. So for the men who've been burned and are reluctant to be vulnerable to that woman who creates that space for them, we just have to give them time, I believe. Do you want to add anything to,
you said
does
it,
that
give
make
him
sense?
space, give him space, give him a safe space. But, I put it in the chat, he has to get over it because he's in a new relationship. So if she creates a safe space for him, if she's really trying to meet his need, give him the safe space, like you said, sister, and let him feel comfortable. Let him get that comfort with you. If you don't create the safe space, he's not going to open up to you. You're not going to see that side of him. And then that hard side that we covered earlier is going to continue to always be put out there. And it's going to make you, the ladies, feel like, well, he doesn't express himself. He doesn't talk, he doesn't express himself emotionally or verbally, and that can create an imbalance in your relationship, where he may want to be, he may have been burnt before in a relationship. He may be trying not to carry it over into the new relationship, but there may be some apprehensions. Again, that's why you need to create that safe space, and allowing him to have those reluctant feelings, but, pace him through it, welcome him into making him feel like, hey, I know what it's like, been there before, because who hasn't been burnt in a relationship? Right. I mean, if the world was listening right now, there's not one hand that could go up. We all been burnt. We all been burnt. But I can say, when I met my wife, I mean, I was burnt, but my wife did not allow me to feel like I couldn't be comfortable when we were dating. It still stands today. A safe space is really what a man would be looking for if he came out of a being burnt relationship. He wants the same things that y'all ladies want, because when y'all come out of burnt relationships, you want us to be even more sensitive to your feelings. I think
when it comes to that, coming out of a burnt relationship, the first thing you need to do is pause and heal before you go to the next. Right. Because
that comes first.
Yeah, you have to, but we don't. Sometimes we go from one fix to the next, and if you
No, you're right. I agree.
I'm saying that to say, because you know what? Because I will say this: in my marriage, I called myself a single married person, because I went through some things although I was married, and I'm being transparent, being honest. We have a real conversation, real resolution. I did it. God knows it is what it is. So ain't no shame here. If I can help somebody as I pass along, my living would not be in vain. So I say that to say, in the brokenness of my marriage, I started healing within that before I even got my divorce. I started my healing before. Pastor Rosa is the best. She's our mom. She said you was.
You was.
I was a single married person for a while. And coming out of that, I had to start letting myself heal before I even started getting divorced. So when I came out better, but I still had healing to be done. We can't jump from person to person, but there's a process. A lot of times we exit the relationship before we even end the relationship. That's why the relationship ends, because we've already started making our exit. But we just have to make sure that we are healing before we start the next. We have to be clear on what our next direction is. Those places, we have to be real about it and honest about it. And I think when we do that, then you can move into the next relationship. I don't want to call it situation, but we have to be honest, and we have to be transparent, and we have to be truthful with ourselves. Women, we have to make sure that we have the capacity to manage, because no one comes without baggage.
Right.
No one does. Everybody, I don't care how healed you are, you're still going to have something that you have to work through.
A scar is a scar.
Right. A scar is a scar. And we just have to have the capacity and the grace for it. Like you said, women, we come out expecting the next man to do more for us than the last man did.
Right.
Which isn't fair.
Right.
Because then as men, I don't think y'all are looking for this woman to do more than the last woman did. I think you're looking for this woman to do what the last woman didn't do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, I don't don't do that. Whatever she did, don't do that. Do anything else but that.
Like, here's the list. Like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this.
Right.
Yeah.
So, if you don't do any of the things on the don't do list, then we're fine. Like, we can rock, But but it gets down to capacity and being able to handle and manage gracefully the person in your life. So what we're taking away from this myth, and I hope we have helped to break down some of the narratives that have been put out there, that men are not supposed to cry. Women, we need to change our perspective and understand that you want a man who is able to express and be emotionally mature or intelligent, to be able to express that, but we have to create that same safe space like they do for us, and that's going to take time and capacity. So hope you guys are enjoying this conversation so far. This is amazing. Something happens when men speak. Come on, put it in the chat. Something happens when men speak. Y'all are clearing it up on tonight. So another myth that I want to get into, and this one, it's a little extra. We got a light one and we got a heavy one. So it's what we do. It's balance. Is the fact that we have to understand that a myth goes around that all men want is sex. That's all y'all want is sex. Have you heard that rumor, that myth, that's all a man wants?
I don't think that's a myth, but anyway, go ahead.
That's all. That's all you want. That's all men want.
Well,
like men don't. You don't want to be cared for. You don't want to be respected. You don't want to be supported. You just want sex. That's it. Nothing else.
No. That when you put it that way, absolutely not. Certainly, we do want.
Okay. All right. So let me rephrase then. Okay. So let me backtrack. So, brethren, tell me if this is true, if this is a myth or if it is a false statement. Is all men want sex? Is sex all that men want? Who would like to share first?
I'll speak for some, because I know that's some men. That's all they want. They want
come on.
They want a woman in the kitchen and the bedroom. They want a woman in the kitchen. That's what they want. I would say for some that's all they want. But I would say. And I'll speak for me. I'll be transparent moment. When you're in your younger days, your college days, you're young, before marriage, you're dating, you're seeking that one, or you just out there having fun. Yes, younger guys, that's all they want. That's all they want is sex, because because they're being exposed to things on that level. But I think the older you get, and I'll speak for me, probably some of the other brothers also, the older you get, when you start looking for marriage material, and you're looking for someone that you want to settle down with, then I think you realize that, you know what, sex is not as all. Sex is only a portion of the marriage. Sex is only a portion of the relationship,
Mhm.
versus what you thought it would be. So I'll drop that right there for a moment.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So it's only, so it's not, and that's true in your younger years. And I think for women, it's somewhat the same. The reason why I think this is important to discuss is because when women and men are entering into relationships, um, I know most women, some, not gonna say most because I haven't interviewed everyone, but some are hesitant. If you meet the women who are resistant or very strong in your approach, when you're just saying hello and we're like, what, you know, it's because we believe that a man is only approaching us because that's what you want. You may authentically be wanting to get to know this person, finding out what they're thinking, how they feel, how they operate. But in our minds, you're just approaching me because you like what you see and you just want to sleep with me. Like,
Right.
so
Right.
let's not play I know for me, I'll be like, listen, we're not gonna, don't try to play the emotional role if that's, not that you're gonna get it, but I'd rather you be honest and just say what is the two questions I ask is, what do you want and who sent you? Those are my two questions. Also.
Wow, sis.
That's
Because listen, I'm working on it. I've changed, but those are two important questions because a lot of men approach you for these reasons. But this is something that's gotten built up in women because of, again, this myth or statement that all men want you for is sex. All men want you for is sex. And the truth of the matter is, sex is a very real part of any relationship. But I don't believe that that's all that men want. At some point, you're gonna want something outside of the bedroom, a glass of water, like something.
Yeah, and you're
You know.
absolutely right because you're absolutely right. There is more to what a man wants than just the sex part. So we may very well be putting off that message that you described. We our approach does not, with our approach to the women that are being approached, it makes sense as to why any woman would instantly think, especially depending on her apparel and her posture and her features, that and even her own self-confidence, that you're only talking to me because you want sex.
right.
That's a reasonable thought. However, it is not the only thing we're interested in. The Bible says that a man that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. I'm certain that this applies to as many men that believe that when we're out there on the prowl, we are going to at some point meet a woman that is different than what we've engaged prior. And so our focus goes from being on the prowl to wanting to be to explore and being settled. Sex is not there. Sex, though, is an important feature of relationships, marriage, in particularly. However, a man wants to be able to be around a woman that can hold a conversation, that has some intelligence, that has some virtue about herself. A man wants to know that he can grow with this woman. A man wants to know that if something should happen to him, that she would be able to, attend to him. I tend to have found that there's a difference between sex and making love. A man wants to make love to a woman that he knows is going to be what the young people might call white. Well, I don't know what the term. A man wants to make love to the woman that he knows that's going to be the wife. That's going to be his wife for the rest of his life.
Well, no, to make love to somebody, you have to love them first. You gotta,
Right.
Well,
not just like
but
them.
that's how you build a relationship, right? That's how you explore the relationship. You explore the relationship, and eventually becomes love. So now a man. Okay, let me go there since my sister made me do this.
Let's talk about it. Listen, hey, we are here
when
to
a
learn.
man
We are here
wants
to
to have-
listen. We are here to communicate. So come on and like,
Mhm.
subscribe, and share. You got some questions or comments, put them in the chat. Listen, we keeping it real. Okay, we have real
Mhm.
talk for real resolutions. I'm trying to help somebody tonight. Come on, let's grow. Let's
So here we
grow.
go.
Yeah.
When a
Something
man has
happens
a-
when men speak.
Here it comes. When a man wants to have sex with a woman, it's because of what he sees in the body. When a man wants to make love to a woman, it's what he sees about her heart. And what I'm trying to say, in the best way of saying this, is that sex may very well be on our mind, but love making is what we really hoping to eventually engage.
Mhm.
Okay, so say
We'll know
that
the difference,
say it
and
again,
we'll know
brother.
the
Say it again.
difference.
Your statement of the body versus the mind, sex versus making love. Come on,
Okay,
come
so
on, run it back one more
let me
again.
complete. Look,
For the
let me
people
put
in
it
the
out
front.
here now. Sex, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and I'm
Mhm.
done. Love making is I've learned to love this person so much that I don't want her to feel used or abused or
Mhm.
neglected or ignored. I don't want her to ever have to be curious or reach outside the relationship. Um, that's Donald's personal feeling or thought between people having sex for just getting an urge out, curiosity, filling the gap, etc. I could go
Mhm.
further, but I think I'll stop at those.
Okay.
Yeah.
When it becomes
But-
love making, it's like, man, I've met. Look, help me out, Brother Brooks.
Yeah,
I
that
met
that
this
That's your
woman.
cousin. That's your cousin.
I met this cousin Brooks. I met this woman that's different than any other woman I met before. There's something different about her. She's got elements that I didn't even think about myself that said, you know what, that's the wife. That's the woman I'm gonna make a wife. So my engagement with her is gonna be a lot. He's gonna be at a thank you, Sister Brooks, cousin Brooks. um, she's helping with what I'm trying to say. When you learn to love a person, you're not trying to have a one night stand with them. You're not just trying to, polish it off and be done. You're making a connection, and that connection creates intimacy between them two people. There's a big difference for us fellas, I believe, that when we want to have sex with a woman, hey, it could look, I think, piggyback
And
off
I-
what Brother
and I-
Buster said about age.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say, age, maturity, growth
Yeah.
in that dispensation, in different dispensations, can determine my urge. I'm not okay. Let me be real. My urges at one point in my life to just have sex with women that I was just meeting because I was just a fly guy like that. They were coming to me. I was like the honey. They was like the flies. La la la.
Right.
I was satisfying my curiosities at certain ages. Versus
Mhm.
when I became more mature and understanding that I'm not trying to have you tonight and then get rid of you the same night. I needed, I started to realize that, look, let me do things in decency and order. Let me not put myself out there as some kind of male tramp. And yes, mother, I'm keeping it real.
Yeah. I'll say this, cousin Donald. I'll say this.
Come on, cuz.
We're kind of tracking in the same way. I was thinking about this even earlier today, the difference between having sex and making love. So I was like, okay, some men, and let me go back and tie in the whole crying piece to having sex, the crying piece. Some men that operate in silence, some men that are hurt, they've been beat up, so a lot of time they just want to find a girl to smash. And I'll say that because I know that's one term. And I say some men that they have this internal battle and they just want to, I need to release. So they just want to find some girl to have sex with. That's one level. That's one level of maturity for some men. So yes, cousin, Lady Donna, that is true. Some men just are into having sex. And that's their way of releasing. That's their way of letting go of some things that they've been beat up by the world. They've had a hard day. I just need to find me some,
Need to,
And
the inventory.
You need to find your outlet. You need to find you an outlet, right?
And the inventory for sex is large. Just
It's
to put it
higher,
out there.
right? You have a much bigger selection for sex than love
When a
making.
man is looking for a wife, though,
Correct.
he's not gonna shop at Target. Just to use a analogy, he's gonna go to Dillard's, Nordstrom, Tiffany's.
Lord,
Yeah,
not Tiffany's.
Oh, yeah, he's gonna look at Tiffany's. Trust and believe.
You may have some nice ones at Target. Just don't go to Walmart.
Right. Definitely don't go to Five Below. You're gonna catch something there. I want to let Pastor Chris get involved. Hold on, I want Pastor Chris to get in since he is now settled.
Pastor Chris.
The myth. I don't know how much you heard. Maybe you were listening or missed, but just. Pastor Rosa said, "Lord of mercies." No Five Below. No Five Below. You're definitely gonna find something there. But we're talking about the myth of, is sex all that men want? So Donald and Angelo was sharing that no, that's not. At certain points in life, it is. But the narrative out there with women, a lot of times in the approach and how we respond is because we have been taught and told that that's all a man wants from you. I shared Donald. Donald was disappointed. I mean, at some point, listen, the truth of the matter is,
I'm not disappointed.
Nobody's going to approach you just because at some point, like, I got to be attracted to you to talk to you, first of all. So at some point, sex comes up in the relationship. So I'm going to yield to Pastor Chris. Let him get in here and share. Walmart, Tiffany's. Go ahead.
There's some brother and sister things that just don't need to be out.
Go ahead, Pastor Chris. We're going to behave now.
I'm gonna put the grown man response to this, and then I'm gonna put the state. I like to layer stuff. So for me, respect outweighs far more than a big butt and a smile. Yeah, I said it. Because I am not going to be attracted to you if the respect's not there. See, we talk about this word a lot, but we don't really understand the value that it has with a man. If you can respect my opinion, my intellect, you can also respect it if I have a crying moment. You're not dogging me out and embarrassing me in front of your girlfriends and using it as ammunition if we get into a fight. All these things come together, right? Now, for some of us, and I can be transparent, for some of us, we had to grow into this. Some of us, when we were in college, or we had to sow our oats, so to speak, right? We had to cross every T and dot every I, have every flavor of the month, all this stuff, right? Now, there's a maturity level after a while, right? And some men are stuck. And like Michelle said, Walmart aisle 5, that's not going to work. Because see, if you go to Walmart aisle 5, you're going to get stuck like Chuck, and you're going to get stuck with somebody you can't get rid of. And I ain't going to even go there with that. So anyway, like I said, the biggest thing for a man is respect. I don't care. You could be the finest thing since sliced bread. But if you can't respect me, I'm sorry, woman of God, regular woman that don't know God, whatever it is, if you can't respect me, we ain't gonna have nothing to talk about. Yeah, I'll smash it or whatever. Smash and grab and go. I mean, if you want to keep it real and raw, that's what happens. And then you wonder why, all men do is run through me. Ooh. Now, the reason why that happens is because you have no respect. See, you don't know who you are as a woman. That's the first thing. See, because we're taught we always have to pick up your pieces. This is what we're preached to do. This is what we're taught to do. We have to be the Superman in the relationship. We have to be Captain Saber, and because we on a family platform. So again, we have to always cater like we do. Y'all don't want to hear about it, but that's the truth. So when does a man have time to be catered to too? Because I want to be told, baby, you got it. I want to be told, baby, you ain't weak. You cry, baby. If you got to cry for another 5 minutes, just lay here, right here, and you just cry. Because why do you think we can go back to when we were little boys, gentlemen? I'll talk about me. Now, when we are laying on the bosom of a lady and we crying, right? Now, the first thing we gonna man up. Why? Because we're being comforted, right? So, and I'm not being nasty by that. What I'm saying is we're being comforted. That's the whole thing. God gave women something precious, and a lot of women don't even know how to use it. They use it for all these other things besides what God designed them for. You are a nourisher. You are someone that can hold him up. You have something that God gave you to hold him up. Let's be real, because a lot of us, we use our eye gates. Let's be real, ladies and gentlemen. We ain't trying to be super holy here. But what I'm saying is we're visual. But again, our attraction to you dies if the respect isn't there. Our attraction to you, coming to you, wanting to need you, wanting to have that desire with you dies when the respect is gone. I'm sorry. That's the key. And everybody's blaming, especially us. They always blaming us. Oh, you ghosted me because it's somebody else. Oh, you ghosted me because of that. No, it's because you didn't respect me. You didn't want to listen to what I had to say. You didn't value what I said. You called me soft and a punk and you need to toughen up and all this nonsense. No, I'm telling you how I feel. And if I can't do that, that's a problem. So that whole element with this sex thing, yeah. Are men driven to have sex? Absolutely. That's what we were designed to do. But also, it's not going to be enjoyable for me as a man if you don't have no respect. Just saying. I'm done.
So I like to throw this out there for a minute. And I'm probably going to put a little twist in the question.
Okay.
But I think part of the problem on that issue is also where women feel, when a woman feels insecure because of the number of bad relationships she has had with a man that has brought her to the point of feeling undervalued, and maybe that might provoke her to just be loose with herself. In other words, I know that what we're saying here is that us men are saying basically we're not just about sex. But I also think, to what Brother Chris was saying, there's another side to that, where men are abusive to women in such a way that only causes a woman to feel unappreciated. So that's when the respect gets taken out. And you may have not been the man that did it, but the man or men before that have done it, to where she doesn't have any confidence in men. See, there's an issue. There's an issue there that maybe for another platform at another time, I think can be covered. That basically maybe on the ladies' minds to say, "Hey, I've been through so many bad relationships or different relationships where a man didn't appreciate me and he mistreated me and he took advantage of me." And because I've met a lot of women that are having problems with men, not just in such a way that I begin to understand that there's a problem out there where there are some women that are allowing themselves to be used sexually because their esteem is low. But I put a little twist in it. I didn't mean to, but something kind of came into my thought that said, we're talking on one side. I know this is the men's platform, but I want to encourage and suggest that we also realize that there are sensitivities to what women are experiencing from us men. So we have a big work on our hands as leaders, men of God, especially as men, period. We have a big responsibility to fix that problem, because we, in some way, and I'm saying we as a gender, created a problem that has giving women reason to behave, act, or respond towards us differently, especially our Black women. Well, all women. I'm not even going to put a ethnicity.
Well, you're speaking in the context of where you know the
my experience.
where you're at, your circle.
Yeah.
And no, you guys are great. This is exactly where we want to get to, these spaces where we are getting down to the core of things. And each one of you has added so much to the conversation and to this topic. And that's why, you know, that's why we're here. So that people can hear this real, raw truth, transparent, not sugar-coated, plain and simple, raw conversation. Because I know for me as a woman, hearing it, yes, we have our own issues and things that are going on, but hearing each of you speak, you know, it causes me as a woman like to kind of snap at like, you know, and kind of take a moment and reflect and pause. And we don't get to hear that from real men. Not that none of you are basic, you're amazing men, but the everyday man that we meet, because we're so busy caught up in what we see on TV and on social media and all of these other things, that we forget about the real man that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis and your real feelings, you know. So everything that each of you said is so key and so valid and so important. And I hope that everyone has definitely leaned in and taken nuggets and taken notes. I hope everything that has been said thus far has been a help. You know, we want you to like, subscribe, and share and get people into this conversation. Definitely that we have been having, you know, just to kind of tie it all in together. You know, Pastor Chris was talking about being comforted, you know, us women, the tie between crying and sex. I'm putting my glasses on, act like I can't see. But the whole point of between the crying and the ideal of sex entering into the relationship is that both of them are spaces where you can be comforted and nurtured, and that is part of what men want. It's not just about wanting a body to be in the bed with to just make you feel better externally. It's about having a woman that's able to comfort and nurture you mentally, spiritually, emotionally, as well as the top off being physically. Did I get it right? Am I talking right?
Talking right.
Okay, because I want to make sure I got it. Because, you know, ladies, sometimes we, you know, I'm translating. I want to make sure we got it. You know, there was a healing that is involved. And one thing that Donald, I forgot, I think it was, it might have been Pastor Chris or Donald was just talking about how women come. We may have already been wounded by other men or other things in relationships. One thing that we have to stop doing is comparing wounds. We have to stop comparing wounds. If we go into a relationship and I'm coming and saying, well, I'm hurt because of my last 3 relationships, and you're saying, well, I was hurt because of my last 2.5 relationships. Okay, so we're comparing wounds and expecting each other to fix the other person's wounds, when the truth is, when you came out of that relationship, you needed to do the work to heal yourself. One thing I did was I was 50% of the problem in my relationship and 100% of the issue, because it's what I allowed. So I had to take ownership as a woman, as a person. And I had to say, what did I learn? What did I allow? And get me together in those spaces. So that when I entered into the next relationship, or when I enter into it, I'm not bringing all of that. I'm not expecting him to make up for. I'm not expecting you to heal my wounds, because I've already healed them. My expectation would be, okay, it's not an issue, but if something gets close to or comes up to close to what I went through, this is why I ask you to be patient with me, because I know you're not that person.
Right.
You know, I know you're not that person. I know this is not that situation, but I'm learning how to change my narrative and not respond how I did before. You know, so it's a break where we just kind of have to pause, and we have to start to be patient with one another, and then that grace and capacity. So we have to stop comparing our wounds. But men, we hear you, and we understand that we have to create that space for you where you can be comforted and nurtured, where we are not using your emotions as a weapon against you, because we're not here to tear you down.
Right.
We should actually be the one that builds you up, and we want to be able to do that. So if I had to wrap it up in that sense, so men are allowed to cry, and sex is not all that men want, ladies. So please do not be like the old me and asking, what do you want and who sent you when you first meet them.
And may I add,
That was my trigger. That was my trigger. I'm just saying. I'm like, we ain't wasting no time.
Lady Dawn, I would also say, okay. I would also say, Lady Dawn, that I would say sex as a whole is something that we use so loosely now, of course, in the today and age, and definitely generations and young people, older people, everyone. I mean, that's all we see on billboards. That's all we see, with the soft sex, hard sex, porn. That's all we see with the visual eye. And I think the audience I would say for females that have said that all men want are sex, it's because they've been sexualized in previous relationships, like we mentioned earlier. And it's because they have been either dogged out, they've gone several men, they've had sex with several men, and to the point to where they realize that they've been used or abused in those areas. So I believe that'll be the audience of people that say all men want are sex because of their previous, like we mentioned earlier, their previous relationships. But as the Bible say, sex is it's a spiritual thing. And after you, and we all have been there. I'll be the first to testify. We all have done it out of will. We all have done it explicitly. We all have done it. We're just being honest. We all have done it before marriage and everything else. And when that happens, and I'll speak for me being transparent, when you've done it and when you've mishandled it or abused it, when it's actually time for you to do it, when it's actually time for you to have it in your marriage in the right way, as you get older, then guess what? That makes it hard. That causes problems in your current relationship, your marriages and things. Why? Because we all have had a past, and that's what makes it hard, and that's why we look at sex as being something bad, something horrible, or something that you shouldn't do. But actually, sex is spiritual.
Yeah. Amen. And if I may piggyback off what you said, Cousin Brooks, to you ladies out there and to the fellas.
All right, hold on, wait. Before you go, I just want to, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but I just want to thank everybody for tuning in on tonight, and I want to make sure we leave space for you guys to have your final comments for the show. So again, I just want to make sure we thank everybody for tuning in. It's not over yet. We're going to leave that space for the men to come and have their final comments, so that we make sure that we get it wrapped up with a nice bow. So when we leave here, so I'm sorry. Go ahead, Donald. Share your thought and your final comments, please, and thank you. Sure.
This is my final comment, ladies.
Okay, 2 or 4.
A man can only do what a woman allows.
That's it. That's all.
That's it.
Okay, that works. All right. I was waiting.
That was self-explanatory.
It was. I'm sorry. I was. No. You're good. You're good. Final comments is a man will always do what a woman allows. Ladies, lean in, take note. No, you were wonderful. You were wonderful, 204. I love you, big brother. I do.
I love you, 244.
Cousin, did you have any other final comments or thoughts that you wanted to leave on tonight? Cousin Angelo?
I think that kind of summed it up. I feel like overall, I enjoyed this platform. This is actually good, and I'm looking at some of the comments. They're hilarious over here from YouTube, and I believe that we should do more of this. Thank you, Lady Dawn, for Cousin Dawn, for having me on and having this platform, because I think we need a place that we can share and be transparent and be open about the issues and things that we deal with. Because honestly, believe it or not, as pastors, I think all 4 of us are either ministers or pastors. A lot of this is not talked about in churches. And I think it's very needed and necessary, because a lot of people, even within our churches and in our communities, are dealing and struggling with some of these areas, and we don't want to talk about it. We like to brush it under the rug, but not deal with it. So thank you, Lady Dawn, and the vision that God gave you to create this platform, and I'll be glad to be back on for you. Just let me know.
Absolutely. Oh, fam, you in? You already know. You're a permanent part of the squad. You're a part of the men's lounge. You can say it with your chest to be proud. Put it on your resume. And so thank you for that. Yeah, it's a blessing, and it's exactly what I thank God for it, for giving me the thought and for the space. And this is why we pay homage to Pastor Sheila for yielding me this captain's chair on Thursday nights to be able to have free space, to have free conversation and keep it real. Because the only way that we are going to get help and to get better is by getting down to the truth of the matter and being real, having those ugly cry moments with each other in safe spaces, but knowing that, after my ugly cry, you're still going to love me, and we're going to get up together and we're going to walk it out in shoe leather, as she says. So thank you, Donald. Thank you, cousin. I want to leave space and yield to the co-host of the Men's Lounge, Pastor Chris. Go ahead, share your final comments, please, sir.
I'm trying not to drop the bomb here, but
do what you do.
I've been on the road. So of course I want to give my respect to this awesome network. Thank you so much for having us here and allowing us to speak freely, but this is only round one. It gets deeper than this. And the myth that men have, so many stigmas, so many stereotypes, so many this, so many that, the infusion of what the church values are, the infusion of what the world thinks, all these different concepts. First and foremost, in order to be effective in anything, you have to be whole. I'll wait. So we get all these myths, all these misconceptions because we're not whole. So we become doctors, lawyers, best-selling authors, no pun intended. We have all these different avenues, and we're speaking based off of broken pieces. So we're speaking of different narratives off of broken pieces. Can we understand if we become whole? Do you understand the power that a black man and a black woman have? Yeah, I'm making it a black and white thing because, again, we're so taught to be so at odds with each other, even in the church. Yeah, I said it. Now, we can't even coexist. We're taught about this concept of Boaz. Sorry, that's not a real concept. Let's just be real. But that's what we preach because it sounds good and it's an emotionally driven and it gives us the people and all that other stuff. But that's a whole nother story. So again, I'm not Boaz. I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm a broken man that's been broken apart. I learned from my mistakes. I've made bad choices. I'm not perfect, but what makes me whole is the fact that I can come on a platform with millions of people watching and put my imperfections on the canvas and say, you know what? Yeah, I was that guy. Keyword was. Yeah, I used to do those things. You're absolutely right. Was I the best father in the world at a time? Absolutely not. Was I the best provider in the world at a time? Absolutely not. But see, when you learn how to be a man, the myths of what a man is start to decline. But Minister Donald said something that's key, and it's true. The men that came before us dropped the ball, and it left a hole. Just like we say in the village, we had grandmama and all of them. They were sitting on the couch with the switch in one hand and the cane in the other hand, and they whipped it straight. For all of you already know who Big Mama is and have to pick your own switch and all that stuff. For all you that know, y'all know where I'm going with this. See, there was structure and balance. We got a hole now. There's a gap in the generation where the elders are dying. We got this new age concept. We've infused church values in it. Now we're trying to act on two different values that's not working because there's no elders to tell us the real deal, Holyfield. It's going to take somebody coming from the bottom generation that been taught old school that understand the whole concept of the man and the woman, because we are here to help each other. I'm not going to have it all together. You're supposed to be my rib, right? We're supposed to bring balance to each other. So what you're good at, I'm not good at. So why are we fighting over it? Why are we jockeying for position? That's the problem. We're too busy being competitive with each other instead of utilizing our weaknesses and our strengths, becoming whole first, and then coming together with our imperfections and become one unit, become a powerhouse. That's why a lot of these couples that are still together, they understood that theory. We are only powerful together. That's why they keep us separate. I'm done. I can't. I'm done.
Well, thank you, Pastor Chris. He's done.
Yes, he's done.
He said what he's had to say. So yes, thank you for your shares. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being a part of this platform. This conversation would not have been what it is without each one of you. And again, these are just a few of the men in the men's lounge. There's about 5 other brothers that are a part of this amazing team. And you will be hearing their voices and becoming familiar with them more and more as we go along. Don't worry, this is the first, not the last. This is the first for 2024. The men's lounge will be a regular service. It will be a regular service, you hear me? The men's lounge will be a regular segment on Thursday nights with Lady Dawn B. I promise you it is going to grow and get better and better and better as we go along. So again, thank you everyone for joining on tonight. I appreciate you being here. We all appreciate you. Thank you, Minister Donald 204. Thank you, cousin Pastor Brooks. Thank you, the Psalmist Voice, aka Pastor Chris, who brings the fire every single time. I appreciate what you guys pour. I want to invite you guys to come back and join us. And again, the men's lounge will be a regular segment. We'll probably try to do it every 3rd Thursday of the month. And just so you know, if you enjoyed this on tonight, the month of June is going to be amazing. I don't want to give it all away yet, but it's going to be dedicated to the men. So prepare yourselves to be a part. So with that being said, thank you again for joining us on tonight. Make sure you come back on next Thursday. Next Thursday, we're ending January with our Meet the Authors segment, which is going to be featuring 2 visionaries. My girl, Dr. Paulette Harper, who I am co-authoring a book with right now, and Prophetess Chandra Gore, who I co-authored a devotional with that is also out right now. So these 2 women are coming together. They're going to be on here talking about their visions, their writings. Make sure you tap in, invite a friend. And again, thank you to each of you gentlemen. Do not leave. I want to wish everyone a good night, a great rest of your week. I am your gracious Thursday night host, Lady Dawn B. It is always a pleasure to be here bringing you real good content. So be safe, go be great. I love you all, and we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody. Hang out, guys.
With the loser on the floor. Get down. Let me clear my throat. Yeah. Oh, that's better. That's better. Somebody pass around the offering. Since I'm always preaching on tracks, you feel me? I'm out here getting paid for it. Sermon of the day. You right where you supposed to be, baby. Informant, that information for me. Important, you get a portion of fortune pouring. Confession, fortunately, blessings on now they snoring. You mellow, so focused on scoring. Got you underperforming. I never expect something, never assume nothing. Judging me for my past, but that's why I'm triumphant. I don't demand, I know where I stand like engineer hands. Watch how my life pans. That game plan, show out like a drotter, pop out like a cutter. Telling the kick rock, skipping the course, squares like hopscotch. This gonna be my mood to my beat drop. Putting my boogie shoes in my ditty boots, ain't no stop. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I don't without a need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I don't without a need of a validation. Yeah. If having hope is dangerous, call me evil Knievel. You leading on the wrong side, living with peasant needles. So lethal, made Shane Black wanna write a sequel. Cause I snuggle my dream till it's seen as illegal. And I still probably will, cause I can never give up. I got my goals calling me, how could I never pick up? Either we make up or just break up. With the snake kids get the rake up. Yeah, selfish, I'ma cake up if I don't take me to wake up. Let my depression catapult me to succession. Shine a light on my imperfections like a projection. Every struggle a lesson, your issues ain't your oppression. Never got a question, they pushing me to progression like I'ma make the rest of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life.